Hey, what's going on, people? Thank you for tuning in to another video here. What I'm going to be talking about today, man, we're going to be talking about the Autoland here in the PMDG 737. And we're just going to walk through some things, and it's going to be very quick and dirty. So we're not going to like run through any charts or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to show you how to set the Autoland up and how it all works, man. So we right now we took off from Indianapolis. We're headed to Columbus, and it's a very short flight. We should be in Columbus here relatively soon. So yeah, so let's talk about Autoland real quick. I will point out very quickly for you that I am very new to VATSIM, though I've been flying FSX for a long time, and I've been flying the PMDG for about almost 4 or 5 years at this point. So I think I'm pretty well versed in it and everything. For years, like I have been wondering, man, like how do you, man? I see these videos and these guys, they do Autoland and stuff like that. So I took the time or whatever to watch a couple videos and kind of see how it's done, and so I figured I'd just give you a real quick and dirty of the Autoland feature here, and how to use the ILS and everything as well. So let's get into it, man. With this particular flight, we're not using any type of like ATC or anything like that. Typically, if you're flying like with ATC, you're flying on VATSIM or something like that, they will give you vectors to the runway. So the things that you definitely need to make sure that you have entered in once you get the ATIS information, you need to set up your nav1, your nav2 radio, and then you need to set up the actual Autoland here on the PMDG. So let's take a look at how that's done. We're going to start descending here in a little while. We have some time to get it set up, so let me just talk about a couple of things real quick. The sound's going to go out because I'm clicking on to another screen that I'm about to bring over here. I know sometimes people ask me, where do I get my charts from and all of those things. I get everything from flightplan.com. Actually, if you, or FLTplan.com, if you Google approach charts, it'll actually come to this page right here, and it's really cool. So you can enter in your destination airport, and then you go down to whichever instrument approach that you're doing. Whether you're doing for Columbus, for example, we're probably going to do the we'll do the ILS 10. We'll do the 10 left. No, we'll do the 10 right. And so what you'll do, it gives you either GIF charts or PDF charts here. I tend to use the PDF side. So what you'll want to do is click on this and definitely review this. Now, I'm not going to go through everything, like actually how to read this chart, but I will point out some things that are that you'll need for setting up the Autoland, and also setting up to get down to the ILS. So the most important things that you'll need is the approach course. You'll need the runway length and everything, but I want to show you a shortcut too. But you're also going to need the frequency here for the localizer as well. So you'll want these things. You'll want to review the chart, of course, so you'll know, hey, how do I get in? What is my descent path? What am I looking forward to? Like what should be happening as I get close to the airport, and once you pick up the localizer. But I just want to say real quick, this is a really good site, approach charts. I'm sorry, flightplan.com, and you can take a look at the approach charts and get some information from here. Alternatively, let's go into the plane, and let's look at the actual FMC. So on the FMC, you'll have a departure and arrival page, and this is kind of a quick and dirty. Let's say you're new to the PMDG, or just new to flying in general, and you haven't really had a lot of experience with reading charts, you don't really know what all that stuff means, that's okay. You can still successfully set up the Autoland and set up your ILS really easy using the departure and arrival page here. So here we're going to be arriving ILS 10 right. All right, and so we're going to I'll show you that again. So you'll hit departure and arrival, hit your arrival, and then select whichever runway that you want. Now if we were coming in on like a particular star or something like that, you could use this here, but I would recommend setting it up from the charts. But I'm only showing you this because like in real flight, like if you're flying with ATC and things like that, you'll want to use those charts. But when you get to a particular point in your route, air traffic control is going to take over, and they're going to start giving you vectors to the runway anyway. So you'll select your runway right there, and then we'll go ahead and come back up, and we'll take a look. I'm just going to pull this out so we can view it a lot better. So then we will come back out, and I'll just pull this up right next to it so we can take a look at it together. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to change this here over to plan, so you can take a look at the plan. You go to your legs page, and you'll clear up any discontinuities that's there, and just hit enter. Now this is going to give you a particular flight path. As you can see, you're going to go up the rod, you're going to go up the gun, you're going to come down and do some things here. Typically, I'm not going to get real technical with the charts, because I say this is real quick and dirty. But the charts typically will tell you that on this particular approach, once you get to gun, you'll maintain a particular altitude and then expect vectors for the ILS. For this particular approach, we are just going to enter it into the FMC here, since we don't have any air traffic control. But that's typically not how things will be done if you're flying IFR. You definitely would get the information from air traffic control on how to get into the airport. All right. But if you have been cleared, like if you're doing a VFR approach or something like that, you can enter it in right here. So cool. As I was talking about a shortcut, now we took a look at the chart, and I want to bring that chart back up real quick so we can have another look at it. So let me grab it real quick. That was the 10 right. So as you can see, that information that I was giving you before, that I was talking about before, the localizer, the approach course, and all of those things. Well, in Flight Simulator in your FMC, it's already going to give it to you right here. Once you enter in your ILS route, it's going to pull everything up here, and this is the most pertinent information that you're going to need to set up Autoland. Okay, this right here, these two things are what you're going to need to set them up. This is the runway elevation on the left, the 10125, and then the 3086M, which is meters, is the length of the runway. This ILS 10 right, that is the frequency that you'll need to change your nav radio tune into your nav radio 1 and nav radio 2. And then the course is what you'll need to put into the autopilot here. All right, so let's set it up. All right, like I say, it's quick and dirty. So you'll put the course both in both autopilot, I'm sorry, or on both sides. You'll put it at the assigned course here that it's asking for. Okay, so you enter that in. All right, the course is 99. All right, 99 degrees or 99. So you enter that in right here into the course section. All right, that's easy to do right there. Step 1. All right, step 2, you'll come down and you'll look at your radio. All right, this right here, of course, it says nav, so this is your navigational radio 1, this is your navigational radio 2, and you'll enter in the frequency on both sides of your nav radio. Okay, this frequency here, 108.70. If you don't know how to change it, which you should, you come here, you move the dial and change the frequency, and then you press this button here in the middle to transfer the frequency and make it active. Okay, as you see, this is standby, this is active, so you'll hit that, make it active. Okay, alright, so I'm going to get out of this view because I want to take a look. I'm going to pull up the pedestal here so we can take a look at this another way. So you have your frequency into nav 1, you have your frequency into nav 2, and now this section right here, this HGS, is the Autoland computer or Autoland section of your pedestal here. Okay, you'll want to put the mode on A, and then 3. There's like 3 eyes, and then arm. So you'll click this, click that standby button until it goes A, the 3 dots, and then arm. Secondly, you'll click runway. You'll put in the runway elevation here. Okay, you'll put the runway elevation in as such, which is 101.25. So you just enter that in, 101.25, right? Then you'll hit enter, hit the runway again. That's going to ask for the runway length. When you hit it again, the LN stands for length. You enter in the length there, so 3086. You hit enter, and that's all you need to do. You are now set up to Autoland. Okay, so we'll close that. We'll close this as well. All right, so let's take a look at where we are right now on our particular plan. Now let us so what I want to show you is you'll see that you're set up for Autoland, because right here it's going to say like A and then the 3, and it's going to say it's armed. So that means the Autoland 3 is armed. All right, so you're all set up for Autoland right now. We are descending through 15,000 right now. We have a little bit to go until we get to the runway. At this point, or a little bit earlier in the flight, you'll run through some checklists and things like that, where you'll set up your auto brake. You'll make sure your landing lights are turned on, things like that. But in terms of setting up that Autoland, you are good to go at this point. So let's just review it real quick since we have a little bit of time. We'll review what we need to do. All right. First things first, you will go to your departure and arrival page, click on arrival, click on the particular approach that you want, hit execute. That's going to execute it. You'll go to your legs page and cancel any type of discontinuities that are there. Click on your init ref page here, and it's going to give you everything that you need. So it says Columbus runway 10 right. It gives you the elevation, and it gives you the runway length. It gives you the frequency that you need to enter into both nav radios, and then it gives you the course that you need to enter in here. Okay, so you'll enter all those things in. Of course, you also want to set your approach VREF right here. All right, once you do that, you'll go to your pedestal, enter in the frequency to nav radio 1, enter in the frequency to nav radio 2, and you're good to go. All right, then the third thing you'll do is come right here to your HGS, put this on Autoland 3, arm, enter in your runway elevation, your runway length, and we don't need to change this. This means that this is a glide slope, 3-degree glide slope here. Okay, so we'll close that. All right, now there's a couple of other things that we'll need to do, but we'll need to do those once we get a little bit closer to the airport and everything like that. So We can see that we are armed and we're good to go. One thing that one thing that I've noticed, and with my particular flight simulator, I'm not sure if maybe I don't have some things updated, because as I've been flying around, and I recently just joined VATSIM as well, and I think maybe some scenery or something isn't updated, and also maybe these particular parameters aren't updated, aren't the same for what they're going to give you here in on that page. So let me pull up what I'm talking about here so it makes a little bit more sense. As you can see here, this is saying the ILS frequency here is 111.75 and the approach course is 101. Here it's saying the ILS frequency is 108.75 and the approach course is 99. Stick with what is inside of the FMC if you're going to be using those flight plans. Just check them and make sure that they correspond. Many of the flights that I do and approach charts that I look at, they do correspond, but I have noticed that this one doesn't correspond with the particular approach as it shows in the FMC. Okay. All right, so we're going to keep descending down here toward Columbus. As we can see here, we are going to make a right turn at Gun, and then once we get like right around to, this is, like I say, this is quick and dirty. This is not, procedural and stuff like that. So don't throw something at me or whatever. This is not super procedural, but this is just quick and dirty so you can practice. This is how I learned. I just learned how to practice like this, and then I went ahead and tried to do it, and I've been practicing the correct way and following the charts and following the checklist and setting everything up the way that they need to be set up. So but as a good point of reference, once you get like right around to the decel point here, in whatever approach that you're doing, you'll want to click on the VOR lock or VOR LOC, as you can see here in the autopilot, and see if I can zoom into that here, right here, the VOR LOC. So once you get right around to your decel point, you'll click that VOR LOC. Now what that does is that the frequencies that you entered into the nav1 and nav2 radios here, that allows the plane to pick up that radio frequency and guide the plane toward the runway. All right, and once you do that, once it has locked, once you've intercepted the localizer, that's what that means. Once you've intercepted the localizer, then you'll click approach. You'll turn on both autopilots, and that's it. The plane's going to land itself at that point. What you'll need to do, pay attention to, you'll want to keep your hand on the throttle. You'll see on the heads-up display here that once you do that, it's going to tell you right here to put the throttles to idle. All right. So I mean, it's kind of a lot of information kind of crammed in there, but hopefully you'll learn and you'll practice. It's actually really easy to do. So we're pretty close at this point. We're about 17 nautical miles out from our leg, and then another 5.6 to the runway. So we'll be good to go. So another thing that you can do to make sure that you have put in the right frequency, you can turn on the nav1 and nav2 switches here. And what that's going to do is, as you can hear right there, you hear those beeps. That means that it's picking up the signal. All right, it's picking up the ILS signal. Your radios are, your nav 1 and nav 2 radios are. So when you hear that, you know that you're good to go, that you're on the right frequency. For example, if I switch this over to just some random frequency here, you're not going to hear anything because that's not the right frequency for the ILS. But once you switch back, you'll start hearing those beeps, and you know that you've entered in the right frequency for the ILS. Okay. But we're going to turn them off so as to not be crazy. Yeah, so this is just quick and dirty on how to use the ILS. Now, if you're flying with air traffic control, like I said, and you're doing an IFR flight, typically they're going to give you vectors, and at some point they're going to say, you know, how far away you are from, and then they're going to say, you know, descend and maintain 2,000 feet, and or maintain, you know, 3,200 feet or whatnot, and then intercept the localizer. Once they tell you that, then you can go ahead and select the localizer here. Now we passed that decel point just for practice, so we can click on that that VOR lock button right here. Okay, and what that's going to do is pick up the signal from the ILS. All right. We're going to start extending some flaps out. Now, you'll notice here on your heads-up display, you're going to notice a couple of things. You're going to notice that this is going to change from FMC speed and the LNAV here, right here, your enunciations. It's going to change, and once you pick up the localizer, it's going to show that you picked it up right here. So you'll see how it says that right there, the VOR lock. So you've picked it up. Now at this point, since you picked it up, you'll go ahead and click on the approach right here, and then you'll turn on both autopilots. Okay. Put the gear down and extend the flaps out on schedule. There's some other checklists and things like that you'll be running at this point in time, just to make sure that everything's set up for your landing. But we're not going to do that. Like I say, this is just kind of a quick and dirty tutorial here. So now as you're coming down, a couple of things that I didn't explain that I can kind of talk about real quick is you'll want to pay attention to your display here. So this little diamond right here is going to give you like the trajectory. It's going to show the glide slope down to the runway. and you'll see that this little pink diamond here is going to start working its way down. That actually represents basically the nose of the aircraft, and it's showing the amount of descent basically, and it's going to put you right at the end of the right where you need to be for landing. This right here, this diamond at the bottom here shows your lateral here. Okay, so now as you see all those two things blink, and now it says glide slope flare. With that, and you see that the display has changed here, so we're set up for Autoland at this point. Now what that's going to do is that's going to put you right down on the runway, and you'll see it. Alright, so we'll extend our flaps out. You'll set your auto brakes up as well, and you also want to make sure that your speed brake is armed so that your auto brakes actually work. Well, all of that is done in those checklists that we didn't do earlier. You'll set those things up: auto brake and your speed brake. Now, pay attention to the heads-up display. It's going to let you know when you need to idle. It's also going to say flare, so it's going to show the flare, and it's going to let you know when you just need to bring the engines to idle. See where it says idle? Go ahead and bring the engines to idle. Once you touch down, go ahead and turn your reversers on. All right, and you're good to go. That is a quick and dirty tutorial on how to Autoland, right? And we just lost our jobs and violated a bunch of rules because we made a plane go around. But yeah, so hopefully all of that made sense. If you have any type of questions or anything like that for me, you know, just let me know. Hopefully all that made sense. I can help maybe walk through some things or talk through some things. And at this point in time, of course, you wouldn't sit on the runway this long. You get over to the gate, but it's not necessary at this point. I'm not on VATSIM or on the network or anything like that, so we're just kind of chilling. But hey, thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions or anything like that, don't hesitate to let me know. All right, have a good day, man.